You're listening to the Nerd to Know Media Network. Join us at nerdtoknowmedia.com.
Alright, so you're wondering, how do I listen to you guys live? How do I check it out? Well, good news, we stream every Wednesday, 9 p.m, over on Twitch. Nerddux, NERDDUX, or Nerd to Know Media on YouTube or Twitch. That's how you're going to be able to catch us. Hope to see you in the live chat.
Broadcasting from the Blanchistan Centre, this is Phoenix FM.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
According to the Nerd Index, you should be upside down in a junior high toilet around the clock.
This is Sparta! All your days are belong to us. It's a trap 9000! Stop the rocket on us! Leave Benny alone! Leroy Dragon! The balls are inert. Time to
Limousine sedan.
And now it begins.
Alright guys, and I hope we're live. Thank you for joining us here on Phoenix 92.5 FM on all streaming sites including YouTube, Twitch, and of course Periscope. We will work on more in the future. Guys, how's everybody doing? Brin?
Great.
Not doing bad. Not doing too bad.
Great.
And Katie, how are you?
I'm still here.
Still here. Well, it's good to have everyone back. Again, we're missing some of the cast, but we will persevere. Now, here's the thing: not a lot happened because we're still living in quasi lockdown. So
it's actually reverting, I think.
Yeah, well, apparently we're going back. So that's, we might have to go back to lockdown, which is sad.
Back to the pile.
Back to the pile, exactly. Yeah, so what was it? Season, Jesus. Phase 4 now is.
Yeah, we're on season 4 of the quarantine.
Exactly, season 4 of the quarantine. And yeah, so
we hit a bottle episode. It's kind of repetitive.
So the pubs aren't going to reopen. So boo earns, it looks like. Yeah. And so we're kind of stuck now in this weird phase where we don't know what's going forward. But everything still kind of stays the same. Comic-Con is gone. It's been here. Nobody knew about it still. There was some cool Matrix stuff that dropped during the week. Still haven't got around to my promised review of Ghost of Tsushima. And yeah, so that's basically it. Nothing else has been going on really. So we are going to kind of persevere through the rest of season 7 and season 8 of The Simpsons. But before we do that, Kev, you had some news.
Well, in the kind of the relation to the fact that, not a lot's been happening in terms of things being moved to streaming due to everything Rona, there was one big piece of news that came out today, and that's the fate of what's happening to Disney's Mulan, which was supposed to be a really major release for them. It has been announced today that will be releasing. Oh, the date escapes me. I think it's September on Disney Plus, but at a premium.
So you have to pay.
So as a Disney Plus subscriber, so you're already paying for Disney Plus, you now have to pay an extra $30 to rent Mulan.
It didn't take them long to do paid DLC, did it?
Disney's moving on to paid DLC.
Oh no, that's a bad idea.
It's not like we already pay 70 quid a year.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. I got news for you, Disney. That ain't going to work out.
That ain't going to fly.
No, that is not going to work out well.
It's not even the fact that it's 30 quid extra.
Yeah. Hold on, listen.
The cinema doesn't even cost that much.
No. But hold on a minute. Right? We're missing the big thing, right? Mulan, this live action remake, literally did nothing for me anyway, and I'll tell you the reason why. They took out the best part of it. The songs. Eddie Murphy.
They got rid of the songs.
They got rid of the songs.
It also doesn't have Eddie Murphy. So
it also doesn't have Eddie Murphy, but it's like, who's going to say, let's get down to business to defeat the Huns? Yeah. It's like, come on.
Who's going to make a man out of you?
Exactly. Like, these are like important parts that are just gone. So it's like, fair enough. We had the hot one from Harry Potter trying to butcher in Beauty and the Beast songs. But that, at least they tried. Your woman...
An attempt was made.
It wasn't a good attempt. It was a horrific attempt. but war crimes in some countries. But you know, with your one who's doing Mulan, it's like, what's going on? Like,
see, I'd given up really being interested in the Disney remakes at all a while ago, but like, I think I probably would have watched Mulan for like, if it's a halfway decent kind of kung fu movie.
Oh yeah,
I'd watch that. That'd be cool.
Absolutely.
Look,
not for $30.
No, look, hold on. No, actually, no. There's no justification. Like, unless Mulan comes around and like hangs out with you and like gets you food, you're like, cool.
Like,
this is
the one argument I heard to justify the price is that like that's the amount it costs for a family unit to watch it. And
not
I'm
if
like,
you're
okay,
already paying a subscription.
You're paying a
exactly.
subscription
Like,
already.
it's there's like that's the one thing, and I'm like, what about the people that want to watch it alone? You're shafting them $30 goddamn on top of your subscription.
Well, theoretically, there's a browser you can use called Brave Browser.
Or we could all just not watch Mulan and just boycott it.
Well, look, you know, there's also some there's a certain number of seas you can sail.
Exactly.
I'm not sure how many there are, but
can I interest you in a boat?
And how you surf those seas theoretically is using the Brave browser, which unlocks all the access to these seas. So Disney, good luck. Good luck. Yeah, in theory, of course, for educational purposes.
Where you find other people who educationally just want to, you know, share
the knowledge
aspects of files with you, and you know, you share them back. Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. It's just, you know, it's like handing a parcel to a good friend of yours.
It is.
This is terrible idea. Terrible idea.
I've lost all interest in seeing Mulan. Unless they just upload, like a month or two down the line, they just upload it to Disney Plus. I don't care. The only live action remake I'm waiting for is Hercules, because that's going to be a train wreck, and I am in.
Yes. The one thing I would say though is I'm probably more interested in sharing a file format of Mulan with a friend out of spite now.
In theory,
you know,
for educational purposes.
Yeah.
Hold on.
With friends.
Here's the question.
With known friends.
Here's the question I have, Kev. Does the Hercules remake at least have the songs?
Have it as it. Like, I think the only thing they've actually announced is that it's got the Russos producing it. That's it.
If it doesn't have James Woods, I'm out. Simple
like,
as.
Again, no firm details yet. All we know is it's happening and the Russos are attached.
It needs James Woods, and it needs Danny DeVito, and it needs the songs. Like,
do you know what it needs?
What?
It needs James Woods singing the James Woods song from Family Guy.
But every James Woods thing needs that song. So.
No, it needs Michael Bolton playing Hercules.
Yes.
Right. Like, I don't know, like the big misstep with Disney remakes or Disney live action stuff is like the reason why you watch a Disney movie is for the songs. And if the songs are gone, it misses a huge big part of it. You know, like literally, it's like you're gonna have good animation and songs, some better than others, but you know.
There's also like when it comes to the animated stuff as well, it doesn't degrade over time in terms of animation quality.
Some of it does, but it's very.
I mean,
it depends.
Yeah, like the good, like the consensually, the consensus good stuff has.
Yeah, the golden age. Yeah, the golden age stuff.
Like slowly but surely, my favorite Disney film is becoming Emperor's New Groove, and it's brilliant, and I will fight anyone who says it isn't. But
such a great movie.
That's one of those films where like I love it, and I don't think it degrades with time. But I guarantee you, if a live action version of it was made,
that would be terrible.
Degrade.
It would be terrible.
Unless they got David Spade back.
No one wants David Spade back though.
Oh come on!
He's really good in that though.
He's really good in it, but I really don't want to. Have you seen him in real life recently? I don't want to see him. Like
I don't want to see him.
He won't look good as a llama.
No.
It would be like hiring Dustin Diamond to come back to Saved by the Bell remake, and you're like,
oh god, Dustin Diamond.
No.
Oh yeah, but no. In fairness, now Dustin Diamond straight up stabbed a guy.
Oh, he did totally. But even if he didn't, he looked like a haggard wreck.
Hold on, yeah. Dustin Diamond looks like he needs to be in jail for a string of offences. Like
he is.
He is in jail for a string of offences.
He's back in jail, is he?
Yeah, he stabbed a guy.
Oh my god. Okay, fair enough. Now we can't be sued for libel. Fair enough. Oh wow. Damn, Screech, calm down. Like,
No, Screen Shane got no chill.
No chill. Wow, I suppose living under Zach Morris' shadow for so long messed them up.
Yeah.
But Zach Morris is trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was kind of like the whole...
They're all trash under AC Slater. That's...
Yeah. No, but have you actually seen Zach Morris's trash?
No, what was it?
It's like it's this thing that they do on Facebook where they watch episodes of Saved by the Bell and they point out like every single time Zach did something horrible.
Within it's literally the first 5 minutes of every episode.
The whole episode, the entire episode, the storylines are centered around him being a horrible garbage human being.
But within the first 5 minutes, he does something like horrific, and then it just gets worse from there.
Yeah.
But then
it's called the inciting incident, guys. Come on, learn storytelling.
Hold on a second. I have just Campbell book over there. You know, I know, I know. Jeez. Okay, we're gonna do that. That's gonna be an Air to Know thing. We're gonna watch an episode of Saved by the Bell. Man. Anyway, moving forward. So, look, I would say Mulan coming streaming service is a good idea. DLC, not a good idea. Like, I don't even know what would be worth €30. Honestly, like...
Like, is it a magic movie? Does it make you toast and coffee in the morning for your breakfast after you've watched it?
See, that's what I... Like, oh, fair enough, right? Here's the thing, right? So here's my big pitch for Disney Plus, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you rent Mulan, right, they send you out, like, a poster, right? And a gift voucher for Szechuan sauce or something. Or like a meal of some description. And then there you go. You can watch you have your takeaway while you watch.
Because you like to get wine and dine before they do horrific things.
At least it would justify the price tag. If you got like a Just Eat voucher that was €25, you'd be like, cool man, this is fine. And at least then you wouldn't feel so bad about it. But I don't know, listen, if you pay €30 for Mulan, you're full. So I'll just say you deserve
the capitalist machine.
Hold on,
you animals.
Capitalism, there's nothing wrong with it, but this is ridiculous.
Think about the economy, you guys.
No, this is
think about how badly Disney needs that money. You guys.
Hold on. What I will say is Disney is in a lot of trouble. To be fair, I don't know if you guys have seen this or not, but Disney actually is in a lot of trouble because ain't nobody going to theme parks during the big Ona.
No one's going to theme parks. That ad for Disneyland Florida looks like a dystopian parody.
But like even on the videos they have where they're showing like all the precautions they're taking and stuff.
It does not look fun.
But they have this guy with a temperature thing, right? And he puts it up to literally touches it off the kid's forehead. And then he takes it away and the next person walks up. He doesn't even wipe it. He just puts it on the next person. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yep.
You can't do that.
Yep.
The happiest place on earth, you guys.
So here's the thing, though. You know, as we slowly descend into the worst dystopian technocracy that we were all foretold about, to be fair.
Cyberpunk.
It's not even cyberpunk. It's like bad cyberpunk. It's like we don't even get green terminals. We just get hell.
Darragh, it's a genre that never existed before. It's sad cyberpunk.
Literally boring cyberpunk.
Sad punk.
Everything is just grey and slightly terrible.
Have you listened to the state of rap music? That's basically what it's been for the past couple of years. This was inevitable.
But yeah,
you know things are bad when rap music's going. What's the point of putting effort in anymore?
Well, the genre that gave us P. Diddy has given up.
So here's the well, look, if you look at trends the past 10 years, literally that's what 2010s were. The decade everyone gave up. So okay. So anyway, Disney's in a lot of trouble, right? So, because their movies, obviously no one's gone to movie theaters, right? No one's gone to theme parks. Disney's in massive financial problems. But here's what's interesting about it, right? So, they're starting to cut the fat all across through all these departments. It looks like there's going to be major cuts made at all these movies that are coming out. Marvel's still fine. They've started shooting again.
Are you going to bring this back to Star Wars?
Yes.
It always comes back to Star Wars.
So Star Wars now is apparently shoveled up, which means that we're going to see probably some Star Wars news coming up soon. So that's good. So it's taken Disney on the verge of financial ruin to actually kind of sort this out. But yeah, man, like I would not want to be on the Disney board right now. But what is interesting about it as well, as far as the Disney Plus thing, what we could see happen, we could see like there is talk that The Last Jedi But that was no. What was the terrible one that came out?
Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of all of them. Rise of Skywalker. There's a alternative cut apparently going to be on Disney Plus relatively soon. That's the rumors, but we don't know. But we'll just see how bad their finances go, because if they're doing this thing where with Mulan costing $30, I would pay $30 for an alternative cut of Star Wars and then burn it. So
I don't think they have enough footage to make a good film.
Apparently they do.
That's the problem.
But I think that the danger as well is that if they start doing that, where they're putting movies out and charging extra for them, they're running the risk of having an influx of people leaving the service altogether.
Yeah, which is probably what's going. Which, you know, that's the thing with this Mulan thing, is like, if people are like, oh well, why am I paying for this when Netflix is still there? And even
like,
on you know,
if it's the only notable thing that's actually kind of coming up on the calendar for Disney Plus, and people are like, oh well, I've got to pay more for this when there's nothing new actually being added.
Yeah.
Why am I subscribed to this then?
But
that's true. That's true.
Like HBO apparently is going to be coming.
Yeah,
over
HBO
to our
Max.
shore. HBO Max is coming to our shores pretty soon, which again would be, from based on the reviews that we're getting of it, they seem pretty glowing because of the library they have.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know. So look, you know, as you were saying, Kev, capitalism gotta control it, because if you're not, it's great when it works, but if you kind of lose the whole point that the customer is always right, and you gotta serve the customer first, they're just gonna leave or steal from you. So it's just like,
in theory,
in theory, for educational purposes, of course, you know, because at the end of the day, it's like we went from a period where that was just kind of done because it was hard to, like, look, I remember a time when to buy a DVD, like the Highlander director's cut was up there, Highlander 2, the Renegade cut, that cost me €45, and I ordered from America 12 years ago. Now theoretically you can go on a website and get it.
Yeah.
Right?
But this comes back to what Gabe, the guy, like Gabe Newell from Steam, who behind Valve and Steam, has said this forever when it comes to what we're talking about here, which is that like you have it's a service problem.
Yeah.
When it's easier for people to do things in a less than a legitimate manner, than it is for them to do something legitimately. Yeah, that's what they do.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the same with Spotify, and all. Sorry for interrupting you, Brin. It's the same with Spotify. Like, I found myself really going to Spotify now a lot more than I ever thought I would, purely because it's an app on my phone. I don't have to carry an iPod around, and I get a fair amount of music. I don't mind paying the premium because I use it, you know. But if they were to they do it. But if they were to even more aggressively do it, where the point we're going to remove all this music, and I'd be like, all right, I'm just going to get the iPod out again. I think there is that line with people where it's like, if you make it cheap or decent, people will not have a problem with it. If you start, like, for want of a better word, riding them, they're just going to be like, yeah, here, look, no, that's not going to happen. You know, it's like, people are like, no, I'm not doing it, you know.
Being an anime fan pre, like, streaming renaissance was a nightmare. Yeah. These things, if they got released at all, they were released in, like, parts, a DVD. So you get 6 episodes of a DVD that cost you the better part of 20 quid.
Oh, don't I know?
Episodes of a dozen episode season.
Yep. I know, sure, that's, I remember going in and getting Trinity Blood, and I love Trinity Blood, it's my favourite anime ever, actually. And I have all the box sets, and it cost me like $120 to get it. Brin, sorry for interrupting me, please go ahead, because I keep interrupting you.
I can't remember what I was saying, what my point was, but like, even with anime, like, I remember, like, I used to watch Guyver on YouTube relentlessly, because it's the only way I could watch it.
Yeah,
I couldn't find DVDs of it to buy. I couldn't find it. I wasn't bothered getting the original J dub, so just watching English dub was the only way I could watch it on YouTube. There was a point where I could only find it on MySpace, like, which is pain.
John's got creative.
Well, here's the funny story about YouTube. The reason why YouTube was developed was because they were trying to find the clip of the nip slip from the Super Bowl. And a couple of lads,
the wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah, and a couple of lads from Google were like, hey, let's just make a website where we can do this. And they did, and that was the whole purpose of it, to put stuff up where you couldn't find anywhere else. And it's funny, it's come full circle now, because I'm a big fan, me and the band are a big fan of a show called Danger 5, and it's fantastic. But you can't really get it here. You can't, you know, theoretically, for educational purposes, find it on the high seas. It's actually easier to buy the DVD from Amazon and watch it, but now it's up on YouTube as well. So, but I actually bought the collector's edition because it was easier to do so. And that's where I think it's important to kind of mark, like, if there's you can put all the DRM and stuff like that, people are going to get around it. It's just this what it is. But if you make it kind of available for people in a way that they don't have to look for it, that's your sweet spot. And actually, there was a good bit of news there today, actually, before you jump in, with Spotify, where the CEO was like, hey, bands need to make more music. And, you know, obviously to get more money. And, you know, I've seen people jump back and forward with it and say how horrible it is. And on one hand, he's right. But on the other hand, it's a really crappy thing to say. But the thing about it is, it's like, from someone in a band, we put our music up on Spotify. We don't get a lot of money from it, because you really don't. But people find out about it and then buy stuff off Bandcamp and support that way. And that's kind of been my experience of it. So it's weird that we're in this kind of world where streaming exists, but it helps and hurts artists and helps and hurts consumers. And we still haven't found that sweet spot, because I think when Netflix first came around, it was that, where everyone's like, oh, Netflix is great, it's brilliant. Then everyone got greedy. So I think we need to kind of have that shake in the market where people will wake up and stop being so greedy.
I think one of the interesting kind of things in terms of streaming services as well is something like an Audible.
Yeah.
Where, like, you know, it doesn't, because you're able to buy audiobooks. It's never been cheaper to buy an audiobook. Like, it used to cost you upwards of €50 to get a single audiobook.
Oh yeah, ridiculous.
And then when Amazon bought Audible and turned it into a monthly subscription thing, you're able to get, like, you basically spend €8, which would be cheaper than going into a shop and getting a paperback. And you'd have an audiobook that you can keep, which is madness. Like, and I think that's something that would be, in terms of the idea of doing like a rental service, something like that would be, something like that might be an interesting way to go about it, where you get to pick something and then just keep it from that point, with you just consistently using that as a regular monthly purchase.
Because
this would be a really slick way to segue into finding out that we got sponsored by Audible.
This would be a hell of a way to do that.
That'd be a great way to find it.
But guys, listen.
Hey, Audible, give us money.
Yeah, we'll take it. We'll shill. You know, that's just what it is.
We'll shill your books. Shill your books.
Sell my book. Buy my book.
It would be good now if we just hard cut to Raid Shadow Legends. It would be hilarious. But no, like, you know, obviously I think we're in this weird, because obviously we remember the world without the internet, right? So we still remember like the world of physical media. And I think that's kind of hard for people in our generation who are like the high consumers, high earners, all that kind of stuff, that demographic. And then the one after
high earners.
No, but you know what I mean, in that demographic, right? What's it like? White male, age 25 to 35, beer and nuts together at last, or beer and gum together at last, you know? Like, literally, that's kind of what we're talking about. And what I mean is, like, until that memory of physical media is gone, we're still going to be in this weird process where, I don't know about you, but when I finish a game and I've bought it on Steam, it's not the same as taking the game out of the PlayStation and putting it on the shelf. When I read a book, it's not the same on Kindle, even though it really is like a Kindle Touch. Kindle Touch is very, very similar to it. It's not the same. You know, it's just that weird. Like those DVDs I haven't watched in 7 years. But do you think I'm gonna get rid of them? Hell no.
Like there's something so sad about something that you put so much time into, and then you just take it and you go, okay, now gather dust.
Yeah, see, it's weird though, because there's that, but then there's also like, deleting it from the hard drive isn't the same, you know, and it's just kind of. Sorry, Kev, for example, I've noticed it again from the band thing where we'll stream, we're online, we're everywhere, but people still want tapes. People still want vinyl. People still want stuff they can physically touch. And it's tapes and vinyl, not CDs. It's weird. And it's like, we live in a world where you can literally go onto Bandcamp now and get everything we've done for like £8. Or you can wait like a week for a vinyl or tape or whatever. And, you know, it's just that weird kind of mentality. And I don't even understand it. But, it's just strange.
But then like to the opposite side of the spectrum, you have people like, okay, for myself, before COVID hit, you people like me who basically live out of a suitcase because we travel for work all the time or whatever, and then you have minimalists who want like less and less stuff, and so the digital stuff would suit us better because we're not carrying around as much stuff.
Yeah, and that's it. And here's the thing: when I lived in Rome, I bought loads of books, right? And I actually had to leave a lot of those books behind. And halfway through, I bought like my first e-reader for the same reason, because I'm like, I'm traveling, I have to get it, So I do understand. And Brin, actually, you said this, you like having all your games on your Steam library because you take them with you. So I do see the appeal, but what I mean is,
like, again, broadly, I moved 15 times in 10 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, I mean, I used to have a pretty decent DVD library, but that got reduced down to the extended editions of Lord of the Rings, a couple of DVDs I couldn't sell anywhere, and then like a couple of specific director's cuts where I just wanted to keep commentaries and stuff from them.
But I think what's weird is like, that kind of, but that perceived value. It's perceived value, right? What I mean is, until we value a digital product in the same way as a physical product, we're still going to have that apprehension towards it. And I think that's where and it's solely like stupid monkey brain thing, where we're like, we can hold something, Well,
see, my big reason I have all this here, my big reason for keeping physical stuff is sharing. Not in a theoretical sense. I like handing things to people.
Me too.
I just finished this game. Yeah. This game is incredible.
You need it.
Take
but like I would find that even I personally would appreciate the digital stuff more, like the way I got the Switch recently, and I downloaded a couple of games onto it digitally, and you can swap between them. But then when I'm playing the cartridge, I have to like get up, go across the room, get the cartridge, put it in the thing, and I'm just like, I'm already exhausted. That's exhausting.
And it's weird, like, 'cause that's what I mean. I think we're like probably the last generation to have that, because like later than us, and obviously younger again, that's probably gone. But again, kids nowadays, they love vinyl and they love tapes. Don't get it. So it's weird, man. It's just that kind of thing. It's like,
I mean, but the thing is that, like, these kind of, like, especially with something like tapes and vinyl, they're consumed in a different way. Like, speaking as someone who, like, I still buy stuff digital when I can, if I really want to support the band, or I am. But if there's vinyl available for albums that I know I want to have on vinyl, I get them. Yeah. Like, because like there's certain things where you do want to just be able to go, okay, I'm putting on headphones, I am turning this up as loud as I can, I'm sitting down in a nice comfortable chair, and this is the next 40 minutes for me. And there's something incredible about doing that. It's a completely different way to listen to music than I've pretty much did for, I want to say about 10 years at least, from when I was a teenager to being in from being like going from like my early teens to my late 20s. That entire time I was spending going, well, I'm on the go, so I'm listening to a CD, or I'm listening to my MP3 player, or I'm listening on my phone.
Yeah.
And that whole time, all that's been happening is I've had more choices in my pocket of what to listen to. And now I'm going to a point where when I'm at home, I'm going, I'm going to put on Dark Side of the Moon, and I'm going to do nothing else. And that's a weird thing to do for my brain to wrap my brain around.
I think it's more of the act of listening to a vinyl rather than the vinyl itself. Because I would be the same. My dad used to collect vinyls as well. And he had, a record player and stuff. And it would literally be a thing where it'd be like, okay, let's all sit down and listen to the vinyl, and then me being a kid was like, can I change it? Can I do the next, that kind of thing. So it's more the act rather than the actual thing itself.
I like knowing having done, I think, the same college course Brin did as like an AV college, and Katie, you're probably like the same. Us in particular have been bred to be audiophiles.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, there is, like, we've been trained to just kind of, like, get that different kind of grainy texture of vinyl. So there is a difference in tone as well.
Can you explain tapes to me?
No.
There you go.
Tapes defies all logic when it's off, when it's like
it's a
factually the
I think
worst
it's more than it's not higher quality, but it's a more retro vibe. It's like watching old grainy 80s animation. It's not better by any standard, but it's very like retro, very what's
for example,
nostalgic.
For example, the album that we spent €1,000 on plus to get sounding really good, people can't wait to hear on a vinyl that's going to make it sound awful. And I don't understand that, so I'm like, okay, it just makes no sense. Makes no sense.
It's the novelty, like even with tapes, it's not the listening to the tape, it's the, you know, when you're done with it, you have to rewind it and like stick the pencil in it and all this kind of stuff. It's the whole thing about it. It's got nothing to do with the actual sound quality.
Doing that with your leg warmers and your rollerblades when you're on your way to your step dance class.
It's the same kind of thing where there's a level of love coming around as well for VHS.
Yeah, VHS is great. Actually, I do like VHS a lot.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where there's a level of love coming around for it because there's just something. But I think especially for younger people, it's almost like this mythic level of like a mythic medium.
They're like, what is this?
You're telling me you spent €30 on this brick? That was all you watched for a month? And you had to manually rewind this? That's
Why did you put this into a machine that eats it and then spits it out again 90 minutes later?
It eats it, and there's a very high possibility that the machine designed to play it will break it?
So hang on a second. You're telling me you had to go to a building that had all of these things, and you had to spend money on choosing which one you wanted to keep for a night? And then you brought it home and you were angry because it started at the credits.
Yeah.
And you had to take it out again and rewind that sucker.
See, now, here's the thing.
Before you didn't rewind it again.
But see, here's the thing though, right? I would say in the world that we're in now, there's a lot of good, obviously. But I miss the simplicity of times like that though. You know, there was a lot better. You know what? No, you know when you chose a game, right, for your Mega Drive or anything like that, or your PlayStation. And that was it. If you made a bad choice, man, that's your weekend ruined. You know, but that's it.
Oh, man. Like, we even had growing up, we had a video guy. So I don't know if you guys had this, but we had a guy that would come around, you know, every evening or every other evening, whatever it was. And he had a basket of VHS tapes.
Yeah, I had that, yeah.
And you pick whatever one you want.
That's
and
how I saw.
Give it to you for the night and then come back the next day.
That's how I saw Star Wars. I remember the first time I saw Star Wars, I was 4 or 5 and I was really sick. Like really sick.
Who is this man? Do you have his phone number?
And it was funny. So I just remember I got like bad flu or something, and my dad got me, my mom and I got me like A New Hope, Empire, and Jedi. The Jedi was the wrong tape, but I'll just never forget seeing Empire, A New Hope for the first time, and obviously the rest is history. But that's one thing. I never actually knew anybody who had that video guide before. They come around with them, and this is before obviously Extravision and stuff like that opened up. But yeah, man, different times. Kids don't know these days; they have it all. But
those were the days.
There's a great documentary, but I can't remember the exact title of it. Called it's something along the lines of Analog Men in a Digital World.
Yeah,
and it's very much like, again, it's talking to people who would have been from a generation or two older than us, and them talking about what it's like using digital projects, and it's fascinating seeing how they think of it. It's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like when similar to when you see people talk about the different language they use for talking about special effects in films, where like people in our age group would probably say special effects, people younger than us probably would say something like CGI, and then you get people who are a bit older than us who will say trick photography. And there's just something so quaint about a phrase like trick photography.
Smoke and mirrors.
Smoke and mirrors.
Or magic.
Yeah.
Or he superimposed.
Yeah.
But like, the thing about it is, it's like, it's this kind of cultural gap that we're going to have. And it's not even cultural generation. It's just like moving on with the times, because usually when you see great leaps in technology, they take hundreds of years. But we've literally jumped from, you know, literally pre-internet dial-up, right, where you couldn't use the internet at the same time, to now in our life in a very, very short space of time, and it changed the entire world. And we're born in a time where we remember it, what it was like before, it's still weird. So I think a lot of the stuff we have value in, it's still there.
As well as that, the amount of stuff that we have lived through. So we've seen like the decline of tapes and VHS, the rise and fall of CDs and mini discs and DVDs, and all of this kind of stuff, like stuff that would have spanned, you know, hundreds of years that lasted like 20 years.
Yeah, like, and it's
and
crazy.
paper's still going.
Paper's still. Actually, here's the thing.
Paper is king.
Maybe not for long, because in the trends that are happening now when it comes to contracts and stuff, the days of paper contracts are really gone. Thanks to our good friend Rona. It's just not going to happen. So paper is still king. And look, there's nothing like opening a book and smelling it, like the smell of the book for the first time. You're like,
or drawing on an actual piece of paper.
Exactly,
to be fair, working in a bookshop in the middle of the pandemic, books are still going strong. Well, let me tell you that right now.
There we go. That's it. Again, look, people are people, and at the end of the day, that's what I mean. And that's why when it comes down to I haven't reached a point where I value digital goods as much as a physical good, but you know, who's to say that might not happen? I do see the appeal of it, but you know, this is one of those things. Anyway, the time we have left. Let's go to. Oh, actually, if anyone wants to chime in on that, let us know in your comments below. Are you as old as us? And do you think about it? If not, let us know.
Tell us your age, please. We're gathering data.
One thing I will add to the whole digital thing is that I really like it because I find it less wasteful.
Fair. That's fair. Yeah. That's fair.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
That's fair. Again, like that's kind of where we're going in the times. But I like space. I like the space, though. To be fair, the older I get, the more I value space. So. You know, that's why this is actually we are working on a new studio at the moment, so I might have a new background soon, and this is all gonna go. So we'll see. It's getting there. It's been the pandemic project, and it's getting there. It's pretty sweet. So yeah, Katie, you want to see vinyl? I'll show you a lot of vinyl. There's like boxes and boxes and boxes that my dad's had for 30 years of vinyl. That's finally gonna be put up. So that'll be fun. It's why I hate vinyl, because I've been looking at it for 30 years in boxes, but. It is what it is. Right, so time we have left. Season 7, we're almost done. This is a massive season. And here's the thing, really want to talk about Season 8 because it's so good. We were kind of talking about before we went on air how much we like Season 8.
There's no way we're getting to it today.
No, it's not. No. I don't think it is. But we probably will finish
after that massive detour in conversation.
After what is now the episode topic.
Oh, don't tell Cian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. God, I love when a plan doesn't come together.
No, you know, I'm going to do we're going to record a segment of Cian reacting to the show plan, and then it's going to loop that every time he's not on the show because we never hit it. It's like the same thing. It's like what things we didn't do.
Yeah, Darragh, tell us what was in this week's show plan.
Oh, in this week's show plan, there was Season 7 and the beginning of Season 8 of The Simpsons, a review that we never did. And yeah, that was it.
We got to 40 minutes into the show, but we've done none of that.
We've done none of that. Yeah, don't worry, we're professionals. We're professionals at what we do, which is professionally not follow a show plan.
Yeah, it's our gimmick.
Right. So last week we stopped at scenes from the class stroll in Springfield. Next two are Bart the Fink and Lisa the Iconoclast. Now I have to say, I beat the revenue this week, guys. So Ayn Rand is going to be proud. I got my tax rebate. I actually was like, oh, my bank account, and then it turns out I got a pretty big tax rebate. Thank you. Just shows you they steal money from you, lads. Watch out. So make sure you do your taxes.
But then they gave it back to you.
Yeah,
so.
2 years later. I could have used that 200 quid beforehand. So whatever.
Well, to be fair, I'm self-employed independent artist, so I don't have money for them to steal in the first place.
Nice. That's the secret.
Don't worry, Katie.
Yeah. The secret is to not have any money.
The important thing...
The answer!
The important thing is, remember, guys, taxation is theft. So, that's the important thing. Okay, Bart the Fink. So, a man who did not pay taxes and got taken from it was Krusty the Clown. He did not do it for years. So this is all about, Krusty the Clown. He gets found out by the IRS, which is hilarious. That whole segment where he goes through the different banks and they're wearing different gimmick. They have like the monkey costumes and stuff. It's hilarious. I love the check. I thought you could get that, like a checking account with the Hindenburg.
I was depressed to find you couldn't get this kind of checkbooks. I
really want one of those checkbooks. This is just like the Guys and Dolls thing over and over again. When I was an adult and I realized that they didn't have these checks, I was like, I've been lied to by the Simpsons.
Also finding out the checkbooks weren't a thing anymore also depressed me as an adult.
Yeah, nobody really writes checks anymore.
Well, I remember working in a shop and we're told not to take checks. So it's like, that's
we were told that too, actually.
Yeah, it's like, don't take checks. It's like, alright. The only place I know that took checks is like liquor stores, and that always seemed really dodgy. It was like, why did they take checks?
It's just like an official IOU, though.
Yeah, I used to. One of my first jobs, probably my first face painting job. They used to pay me in checks, and it was so inconvenient because you would do a couple of gigs, and you might have earned like €30 or something over the space of the month, and then you have to wait a month to get the check. And then they post it out to you, which takes a couple of days. And then you have to put it in the bank, which takes another couple of... So by the time you get the check, it's like a month and a half later.
Wow, that is
so
inconvenient.
So inconvenient.
Man. I don't know. You should have went with barter. Like, gave you some goats or something. You have the goats. You have the milk and everything by then.
Milk and cheese.
Okay, I'll paint these.
And then you
paint these
hit them
5
with
children.
a melon ball.
I will take one of them.
What's it? Paint my blitz. I gave you this to paint my blitzens or make my blitzens. Yeah. Those blitzens were terrible. Paint my chicken coop.
Make me.
Is this in it? Because I remember. Oh yes, it is. Because I watched this one soon, and it's fantastic. But we'll get to that. That's actually my favorite episode of the whole run of this segment. So look, Bart the Fink, it is what it is. Has some really good moments. It's not
a quarter.
It'll be for hours. Yeah, it's not the best one, but it does have some really good moments. Guys, what do you think about this episode overall?
Yeah, I'd shadow that. I think it has some good quotes, but not really a whole lot else that I'd praise.
Wait, okay,
so Peters.
I'm going to out myself and say that I didn't watch this season, but is this the one with the little mini Krusty guy playing the accordion?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
You'll be dancing for hours.
has great moments in it, but overall,
not my porno.
I think once he does once he fakes his death,
it kind of falls down.
The steam comes out, the energy goes out of the episode. Granted, the not a quarter is a great moment.
It's like, it feels like they could have done more with an incognito Krusty that they just didn't.
Yeah. Next one though makes up for it though. It's one of the best ones in the whole series. Lisa the Iconoclast. Now, has my favorite joke, which I didn't get as a kid because of course you didn't. But in hindsight, I do. It's where Lisa writes out the report. And then the teacher's like, it's women like you that keep the rest of us from getting a husband. And then Homer's like, I've been called a greasy tub before and it never stops hurting. And I'm like, that's just phenomenal. It's brilliant. It's so good.
I also have to I love that Donald Sutherland as the guest voice.
Yeah, it works so well. It's perfect.
I absolutely love that moment where he's like, he gets furious at Lisa. He's like, "You're banned from here. You're banned. Your children are banned, and your children's children are banned
for 6 months.
3 months." And just the sequence they managed to fit in a goddamn sequence where George Washington fights a pirate. That's
what I like about this is there's so much world building in it where you're like, actually all this kind of makes sense, where you're like, I suppose
of course this town was built by a pirate.
Yeah, it's the only thing that makes sense, because the actual narrative that they've told you is so like hokey and doesn't really make any sense. It's like, yeah, probably, that's probably but also Homer as well as the town crier. Dig up that corpse. It's fantastic.
Here we all make mistakes.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's great.
I'd say of all the episodes on this one, this is like one that I'd recommend to people, along with like King Size Homer. It's just fantastic. Homer to Smithers again. This is one. This would be my go-to as well for my cooking level before I learned to do it, where I was afraid to make cereal.
Oh, it's still my cooking level.
Oh, fair. Well, I can make everything except for chicken because every time I try, I get myself food poisoning. So, no dice.
I just don't make chicken.
I don't make chicken. I do not. I get other people to make chicken for me when I do. I'm like, I will make beef products. No chicken.
I'm like the opposite. I can only make chicken.
Oh, really? I'm afraid. I still remember.
Screw up beef.
Yeah, well, beef. Yeah, that's it.
You have to cook it.
Yeah, you just it does it for you. But chicken is like, oh, you're going to try kill me again. I just know you are. So nope. Homer to Smithers. So this one is. I watched it obviously on my PlayStation 3, but when you watch it on Channel 4 and Sky, they hack it to bits because of Smithers' vacation. They don't.
Oh, doesn't he go to like Fire Island or something?
Oh, yeah, forget erasure.
Yeah. So they get cut a lot of that out. So you're like, wow, okay. But yeah. Really
it's a shame that they do though, because you missed that amazing bit where he stops the speedboat suddenly and the human pyramid behind him on the water completely topples over.
See, this is it. By cutting it so aggressively, they lose a lot of the jokes. So
it's like the like I can't remember any specific ones in this episode, but it's like the way that on Disney Plus the aspect ratio issue does ruin a lot of jokes.
Yeah. Well, they fixed that now.
They fixed it now. Yeah.
They fixed it. You just have to manually set it, which is still awful.
Yeah, because who would want to? Who'd want to keep it like that?
Exactly.
It's just madness.
It does have one of my favorite jokes, which is the phone call about the car cube.
Oh,
is it about my cube?
Is it about my cube?
You have 30 minutes to move your car. Your car has been impaired. Your car has been cubed. You have 30 minutes to move your cube.
No, I also love, where you hear this big ringing and then it just pulls back and it's this tiny bell. It's through a big funnel. It's just fantastic. Or
hello, Mr. Burns. I am your mother.
I don't love you. I don't love you, Montel. It's so good. It's so good.
It's one that I remember seeing. I hardly remembered anything for it, and it just made me cry the entire way through. It's gold.
It's brilliant. It's so good. It's so tight. It's so witty and smart. It's fantastic. Quality Simpsons. The Day the Violence has died. Really like this one. It has a lot of nostalgic moments. Pretty much for playing Hit and Run, where you could actually get Chester Lambert's rocket car, and I was like, we're finding that.
It didn't turn, and it felt great.
Yeah, this is brilliant. So that alone for inspiring it is great. But this also has paint my blitzens, paint my fence, paint my chicken coop. Those blitzes are awful. Make me.
It also has top tier Lionel Hutz moments as well. With him in the courtroom as well, and just go. Well, it's like, well, do you have any evidence to show? It's like, well, we have conjecture, hearsay. Those are kinds of evidence.
Also, has the now iconic "I'm a meant to be" song, which is fantastic. And this is one show that we would just quote a lot as kids, not teenagers, particularly the "Paint My Chicken Coop, Make Me," and then also the amendment to be we quote a lot too. Because this period, this season 7 and 8 rotated all the time in Ireland, all the time, just ad nauseum. A Fish Called Selma, I don't know.
There's too many bits in it that I love.
Don't know.
I mean, for God's sake.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know how many times I quote that, all of that musical. Across a week.
This is very much the same case as Bart the Fink, where it has those standout incredible moments, which obviously, Dr. Zayas, which again I thought was a real thing, also not a real thing.
No.
Oh, come on, man.
I know.
You're doing this to me.
I know. I know it's Amadeus.
It's a Falco song.
I know it's a Falco song. I know. I know. My dad's a DJ. I know that. But it's I still thought it was in Planet of the Apes.
You're shattering all of my childhood illusions here.
Right? It could be an hour version of Planet of the Apes.
Fair. You're telling me there's not a chimpanzee?
Yes, I finally made a monkey.
Can I play?
But no, this does have it had a moment I did not get as a kid, but the whole running joke through the episode about Troy McClure.
I'm going to SeaWorld. Yeah, that's the bit where I'm like, oh wow, okay.
His romantic abnormality.
Yeah.
It's so shocking and depraved that if we were ever to get out, no, not that.
Oh
God!
I thought you said Troy McClure was dead. I said he sleeps with the fishes. I didn't mention that
It's just they kept bringing it up, and I was like, "This the whole thing." I just forgot how many times they mentioned it across the episode.
I love the bit where he's just like, "Oh no, please! I just had a whole a whole plate of pasta bagool."
I absolutely love that the room that he wanted to have sex with Salma in as well.
Surrounded by
underwater in a sea, in a shellfish theme. It's unreal.
But it's on a cliff as well. Yeah. It's so elaborate. It's so strange.
The guy has issues, man. Like,
this is another one where like this properly just fleshed out the character of Troy McClure, and I love that. I can't fault that at all.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for Selma. You know, it shows that what she's willing to go along with, but then once they bring up kids, she's like, "Look, I don't want to do that." And it's like, you know that even though she's kind of horrible to Homer, she is fundamentally a decent person. It's like,
I mean, Homer can deserve it.
Yeah, Homer's not exactly a decent person himself.
Put it this way: if my sister went out with a Homer Simpson, I wouldn't be thrilled.
Exactly.
That's fair.
You know, I kind of the older I get, the more I understand why they're crap to him.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Bart on the Road, one that has two of the best Simpsons moments ever. Also, ones that have been quoted a lot, and now that are memes. The first one that says pointed back to Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And just the whole sequence, Bart, can we stop for ice cream? Yeah. You know, it's just the whole car thing is just fantastic.
But like something that I actually use in everyday life is always some kind of adaptation of, well, first it started falling over and then it fell over.
So you're gonna buy some wigs or you get it.
Also, it's just like, okay, World's Fair, Disneyland. Ogdenville, what's it? Nashville. It's brilliant. Also, first time they use computer CG, computer generated animation in The Simpsons is, you know, when they're panning the car around. First time that was done in The Simpsons, yeah. So just a bit of trivia there. Look, it's a good episode. Not the best by any stretch of imagination, but has some fantastic moments.
It's a classic.
It's up there. It's definitely up there.
Yeah. I think it's one of those episodes where like it probably, in terms of joke rate, it probably isn't that high, but the story is so damn good that you don't really care.
So, like, also, I didn't get the Marlon Brando reference because I didn't know who Marlon Brando was when I was 8, but now I do. And I'm like, all right, cool. So yeah,
it all gets wrapped up in the bow with Marge answering the phone. No, Bart can't take package to Winnipeg. Principal Skinner. No, Bart's never been to Hong Kong.
I also love the bit with Nelson revealing his obsession with Andy Williams.
Yeah. Oh, we don't need to go there. Yes, we do. All right, guys.
Or the technician on the phone when Homer's just pouring the soda.
Like, oh god, what's going on? Oh man,
so great.
Right, 22 short films about Springfield.
Classic.
Yes, absolutely
amazing.
Everything about it.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was funny before I saw Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Now I think it's incredible.
Although to be fair, you see how dark. What's the guy's name? Let's go with the arm. Herman. You see how dark Herman is. You're like, oh well, if he's going to do what was happening in Pulp Fiction, you're like, man,
gets close.
Yeah, it's
they always alluded to that though. Like he runs the gun shop.
Yeah, but you don't think he's going to do what happened in Pulp Fiction, like. You know he's dark, but you don't think it's that dark. We lost Kev. Did we lose Kev?
No, he's back.
Okay.
He's back. He's back.
He's okay. Paused. We're good. Oh god, now I'm playing Simpsons. Oh no.
Right. So yeah, again, absolute one that you need to watch. Yeah. Rage and Ape Simpson.
Professor Frank. He makes you laugh. He makes it.
Monkey's gonna pay.
Rage and Ape Simpson and his groomed grandson in Curse of the Flying Hellfish. This is one that I love this one, but I always forget about it because I think on my files it's not actually there. So I actually forget about it until I went back and watched it on Sky. This is a really good episode.
See, it's not the funniest, but it's the story it tells.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
It's really dark.
Really dark. But
the fact that he's in a tontine to begin with.
I love the fact that Ox knows what a tontine is.
Yeah.
We'll be
I like
rich.
it all
First
heavy.
and last time we see Ox, but
Yeah.
I love him. I love him so much.
Ox and Elsa as well, so they're the one, and a few others. It's like
Asa,
that's it. It's like, come on, who would you want these? The Nazis, the guys that shoot us all day? Come on, we can have them. We'll be rich as Nazis. And you're like, Burns is such a horrible human being, man. He just it just is.
The badminton with the grenade.
I
fantastic.
love those like Skinner's rationalizations. Like, I could have 3 chicken dinners a day.
Oh no! Oh, so sad.
Oh my god! But yeah,
it is fun to see like just kind of all these characters just dads themselves basically, but just like in World War II. That's just fun.
to be fair, you know, if you ever wanted to do a kind of spin-off, that wouldn't be a bad thing to do.
Yeah,
you know,
have like a bit of a Dad's Army feel.
Yeah, it's something they could do, but obviously, you know, it'd be a totally different show. But look, I enjoyed it. It has some fantastic jokes. It gives Burns so much play to be like a super villain, basically. But not like a comic suit, more like a Lex Luthor kind of thing, where he's so scheming. You know,
It's almost like an Indiana Jones style.
Yeah, it feels
villain.
like that too. It feels like that too. Also, it has the best bit with the German guy at the end. Yeah, it's just I forgot about that.
It's going back to the descendants of the person that had. Get in the trunk.
Get in the trunk. It's
Hey,
so
don't damage the CD changer.
He's brilliant. I love that guy.
So great.
He's so
Hey,
good.
fun boys, get a move.
Yeah, so good. Oh man. Okay.
So great.
So then we have Much Ado About Nothing, which is, you know, had the bear tax. I don't want to pay the bear tax. I paid Homer tax. No, the homeowner tax. Spectacular.
It's also like he's also like complaining about how expensive it is. When it's like a $5 tax is like
the lowest increase. Oh man, I just the whole sequence is just phenomenal. Just making fun of, you know,
Skinner
so
planning ahead for the angry mob is just such a great little moment.
Did you have an appointment? Yes, they do. I phoned ahead. Homer Palooza. Now this is great. This is like the Smashing Pumpkins one, which again, this would be my first exposure to the Smashing Pumpkins as a kid. And it kind of hits it perfectly, really. But you know,
it's gold. It's just like the music, just like the kind of the music jokes in the 90s kind of alt rock scene just hit me particular. But the whole sequence, first Homer steals my pig, then Cypress Hill steal my orchestra, and now Sonic Youth are going through my cooler.
Get out of here,
Come on, Mr. Frampton.
You're not going to eat all that watermelon. Guys,
but yeah, no, the Smashing Pumpkins jokes. It's like Billy Corgan Smashing Pumpkins, Homer Simpson smiling politely.
Guys, if you want to continue in on the bands here and you're listening to Phoenix 92.5 FM, what are you doing? Go over to YouTube and check us out. nerdtoknowmedia.com is where you can check out the rest of the show. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue breaking this down, guys, so we'll see you after this quick break. Check out the Wrestling Rewind here on Phoenix 92.5 FM every Tuesday at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And of course, over on nerdtoknowmedia.com, the only wrestling podcast by wrestling fans who don't hate wrestling. We'll see you then. Thanks for sticking with this stream. But yeah, Homer Palooza. Fantastic.
It's so great.
It's such a good show.
Like end to end, it just has great, just non-stop jokes.
Yeah.
It's how I found out. It's how I found out about Grand Funk Railroad, and Grand Funk Railroad are incredible.
Here's the thing, right? So, do you know the bit where he's explaining all the music? It's like I used to be with it, but well, yeah. It's like one that's kind of starting to happen as we're rounding up towards 30 or beyond. But the bit where your dad explains stuff, you're like, it's so accurate. Where you're like, your parents are talking about stuff from 70s and 80s, and you're like, wow, this is literally The Simpsons. Like, it's like, this is just what happened, you know? So it's crazy that it just has that, like, this, even so late into its run, it still has that slice of life kind of real world thing where you're like, wow, Simpsons actually gets it. They really understand what they're doing. So, fair play. And then the jokes are great. You know, Billy Corgan should be on everything. I love Billy Corgan. Good guy. And yeah. So there we go. Next one, wrapping up. So, a week ending to a great series, but a very good episode. What do you guys think on that statement?
Probably fair. I did really enjoy the episode overall. I love the idea though of like Lisa questioning who she is and her trying to branch out and make herself into a entirely different person to see if she could actually fit in with people, kind of like experimenting with who she is.
Yeah.
And then in the end, it has a nice message of that, like, she's actually fine the way she is.
Yeah.
I'd say, I'd call it actually a very good ending to a season, because it really just it stops it off on that kind of real emotional high.
I think it's more. I think where myself and Darragh come from more is like it's the joke rate isn't spectacular.
Again, coming off Much Ado About Nothing and San Homer Palooza, it's not as good.
No.
But here's the thing: the placement of it. Now, this happened in May 19th, right, 1996. So it is a summer episode. So I suppose it just kind of makes sense in its placement, and then it would kind of pick up around fall for the season 8. So I suppose that's probably what they were going for. But again, this is what we lose watching it 20 years later, 20 plus years later in 30 years later, in a nutshell, you know, in isolation. So, look, I like it. It's great to see, like, the guest stars are great. It does have the dud date game where it looks at Millhouse. It's like, hey, Poindexter. It's fantastic. But yeah, like, it was what it was. And I think it does have a good message. But definitely,
good message. I mean, how did the proper way to celebrate the independence of your country by blowing a chunk of it up? Great message.
It's great. It's so funny. I actually kind of wish they'd go back to that house and do an episode in it, because they never went back to it. Which is, you think they would have, because it's been established, but. You know, it is what it is.
Well, it's the Flanders house, so the Simpsons have no reason to go back to that house.
Yeah, but
he might ask them to look after it again.
Yeah, but Homer just steals from Flanders all the time anyway, so that doesn't matter. You know, you can just say, I'm using your house, sorry.
Yeah, but with the amount of post-it notes that Ned leaves around, I mean, would you want to go back?
Actually, there's a great one there. I forgot that. You know, put food in me, and he just takes it and puts it.
Or it's fill me. Oh, thanks, Ned. With what? With water.
I love that. Like, that's the first kind of real sassy marriage where she's like, I've had enough of this, you know. And it's just like, it's brilliant, fantastic. But overall, guys, here is where we come down to it. What rating are we going to give this episode? So I'll start with Brin. You first.
So I really enjoyed season 5 and 6.
Yeah,
and I didn't enjoy this as much as either of those seasons. It has great episodes in it. It has great moments in it, but I do think it is. I do think out of those seasons, which I would say are probably higher than it, I would have to give it like an 8.75 out of 10, because it's slightly weaker than 5 overall, I think.
Okay, Katie.
I don't know, because, like, for me, watching The Simpsons in season form is kind of weird, just purely because when I watched it as a kid, there were no seasons. It was just whatever was on. So they all kind of feel like definitive Simpsons.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to decide, just because to me it all feels right, and then separating them into seasons is just a bit odd.
Yeah, and but again, like, I think, as we said, 5, 6, 7, and 8 even, they are peak Simpsons, because that's what we were kind of shown over and over again, right? So they're your they're your definitive episodes. So yeah, it makes sense. You know, I would say when I come to it, I will kind of circle back to that point. But before that, Kev, do you want to jump in there?
I'd go with a solid 8. Like, I think just, you know, has some low points, not bad low points, but not as good as it could have been. Some solid episodes, but I know for a fact that we are getting better.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like, it's with me, I kind of agree with Katie there. That's kind of how I watched The Simpsons as well. You know, growing up, it's like, it was all The Simpsons until it wasn't, right? But I didn't
even know what a season was when I was a child.
That's fair. But again, like, what, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, they were repeated over and over again. So they do share a lot of that nostalgic memory. And I think everyone listening to this, even watching this of a certain age, who match your age, or even who's from Ireland, and for some reason Australia, the Australians seem to love The Simpsons a lot as well, just like us. So they must have had the same kind of experience. But yeah, man, I would agree. This would kind of tie with season 5 for me. It's better than season 6 by a lot. It has probably my 2 or 3 favourite episodes of Simpsons in it. When I go back and if I want to watch something, I will just stick it on and I'll have a great time. Season 8 is coming up and I didn't think I'm going to enjoy that as much as I probably am, but yeah, it has some great episodes. So we will get to that and we can continue it on, because we don't know, this lockdown doesn't look like it's going to go away anytime soon, so nothing's happening, so at least we get to keep going on The Simpsons. But guys, you're really busy. You have a lot of shows coming up. Now, we just did the rewind, so it's up on the channel if you guys haven't checked it out. It's going to obviously go out at its normal times. But let's start with Katie. Your shows have been fantastic recently. I've really enjoyed them.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. You always bring out some really good guests. I'm always kind of excited to see who you have, because it's always very different. But who have we got this week?
So this week we have Warren Blair, who is a photographer from up north, who is really good. He does like creative stuff and weddings, but he also does a lot of cosplay stuff. So very,
Sweet.
very interesting for nerdy people. And that will be coming out tomorrow lunchtime, or if you're listening on Saturday, 2 days ago. And also just want to throw in that we are coming to the end of, so I have a list of names of people on the show. We're kind of starting to come to the end of that within the next couple of weeks. So if you want to be on the show, please email in.
Oh, definitely. And you can just use the nerdtoknowmedia@gmail.com email address and you'll get that set up for you. So that's cool. And Kev, you just dropped a new show there over the bank holiday.
Yeah, latest episodes 3 of Anime Crash Course dropped over on the bank holiday Monday. This time it was myself, Keith and Lisa talking about 2019's The Promised Neverland. Spooky Yuki, horror, kids getting eaten. It's a fun time. Lisa hated it, but we all loved it. It's great. It's great. No, I had a real blast filming the episode. It was great fun, and you can hear all about that on the channel.
And what's coming up next? Have you guys decided yet?
We have. This time we are doing the time travel sci-fi escapade of Steins Gate.
Right, I'm on that.
You keep saying
I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting when it's on,
See,
and then you're like, I record it.
The
and
recording is on the schedule.
I know, but I keep forgetting, and I'm like, oh, that's today. No, I will be on it. I will ensure, because I love Steins Gate.
Is this Steins Gate? Is that on? You said it was on Netflix?
It is.
Okay, I will do my best to be on that one too. Then
Steins Gate, because there is a lot of crossover. Because we mentioned Steins Gate on our time travel episode of From the Dark.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I actually go into Steins Gate because John Teeter's in Steins Gate, and you know that's a big part of it. So if you guys haven't checked it out in preparation, check out From the Dark, the time travel episode, and I will try to remember when that's on, because I always forget, and that's why I haven't been on them, but I enjoy listening to them, so they're always fun.
Steins Gate is, in my opinion, the best piece of media about time travel.
Oh, have you? Those
are some strong words.
There's some strong words. There's some really good ones though as well. But
no, I mean,
pretty close.
About it, not with a plot point revolving around it.
Oh, fair enough.
Doctor Who is not about time travel.
Fair.
Have you seen the FAQ about time travel? It's a BBC film. I'll send you a link.
Please do.
But yeah, it's hard to find. It's hard to find good stories about time travel.
Because it's mostly used as a cop out.
Well, what we might do, guys, we might do a time travel special if we can find interest, where we talk about media based it. So that's something we could do. And if there's interest, let us know.
And we have to make sure Cian does not talk about Doctor Who.
Absolutely let him talk about Doctor Who.
We'll keep a counter to see how long it takes him to get to it.
Yeah.
So
and then we'll see how quickly myself and Darragh can derail it to talk about Aerostar.
Oh man! But Brin, before we go, again, how is the show going, and when can people expect it?
Terribly. It's going. Basically, I made a pilot, and it's awful. So I've been editing the hell out of it, and I'm trying to make it sound good, but it doesn't sound good. So,
but it's the pilot.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
The pilot doesn't have to be the top quality.
It doesn't have to be, but I need it to be.
To quote Homer, yearly, dig up that corpse. Yeah, just post it.
You should just at some point you should just do what I do, is that when you've been working on something so long that you start to overwork it, just take a step back.
See, you think all these years working with me would rub off on them, where you just kind of freeball it.
Yeah, the problem is that like
Doesn't
when it comes to sitting down and doing an edit, I tend to get quite diligent about it. And
you're talking to someone who spent 6 hours per episode of a half-hour show.
That's crazy, guys. Seriously, what I do is I might put this through editing software. I might do. Sometimes I just don't bother because it's fine. But yeah, it just is what it is. But these guys put in all the work, so it is what it is.
Yeah, it's because I just can't do it. I need it to sound good. I completely understand that idea of spending 6 hours because that's
on a half-hour show.
Yeah. But again, I'm sure it wasn't half hours when you started.
No, it was.
Yeah.
It's actually elongated since.
Well,
yeah, that I know that pain as well.
Well, look, you're hearing the pain, and if you haven't checked out the shows, it's totally worth it.
Yeah, please check out the shows to make my 6 hours worth of editing worth it.
Exactly.
Whenever
validate me. Validate
me.
Whenever Tech Takeover does come out, and I'm hoping for soon. That's all I can do is hope. But whenever it does come out, please do check it out. It will be on all the necessary feeds.
So what you got to do, guys, is at Brin, cast Brin cast, and just add them for the show, and that's what you do. Because bullying works.
Yeah, just keep poking him.
Don't really bully people.
You know, all you have to do is just look at the pyramids and remind yourself that slavery does get things done. So.
Oh my god.
I'm not touching that one.
Wow. And on that joyous note, we're going to end the show, guys. So thank you very much for joining us this week, and we'll be back next week if we're not cancelled.
Brin.
We'll see you guys next week, and don't forget, subscribe below, hit the bell, all that good stuff. If you want to comment below, or go over to nerdtoknowmedia@gmail.com. We'll see you later, guys. Bye.
Join us at nerdtoknowmedia.com.
Thank you for listening to a Nerd to Know Media production.